of whatever theory we have covered up till now in our sessions. We got a good, clear understanding of how to go about using the online interface for Visquiz and look at how the report is and how to interpret it and what different components of that particular report are. So unfortunately, the site was down, and we really regret that you could not do the test yourself. However, that should not be an issue. Once the site is up, you can anyway go and do this test once again. For now, Purva has shared sample reports, which are live reports of certain students with their names changed with each one of y'all. We will begin with forming rooms and splitting into pairs. So, Purva, I would request you to do the same.
Yeah.
And you can pair people and put them in rooms. Let me just guide you all how to go about this. Just think like this is your first counseling session and this is your first client, your partner. Okay. So your partner comes with a report which you go through and you start with the counseling process. Yeah. It's as simple as that. And while we are doing this, also keep a mental note of what were some of the difficulties, what are some of the fears that came up, what are some of the technical difficulties you all have faced during the conversation. Okay. So this is our first hands-on attempt at understanding how we are faring in a very practical setting. Okay. After this, you will be expected to go back and utilize a minimum of two of your licenses with someone in your circle. Could be a distant relative, could be someone you know, a student. This would be a live case. So you would go about the whole counseling process with the student as well as the parents if required. Okay, and these licenses will be replenished back. Okay, is everyone clear? Does anyone have any doubts?
Yes, ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yeah, sure.
Yesterday you have explained, but I again want to confirm that after every ability, there is one impression that recommended or non-recommended. Can you please explain me once more?
Yes. So, recommended, not recommended, or fairly recommended, these are the impressions you find for every score, like every distributed score. So, that means the ability is recommended. That means the person can use this ability and improve upon it. Once the score says that the ability is not recommended, that means the person has very low ability. Either he can I won't say ignore it, but not take that ability much into account. But there is again a scope of improvement to it. So that's the basic understanding of recommended and not recommended. Yeah.
So not recommended means it's better that we don't go for that ability, and instead we should go for recommended abilities.
Yeah. So we can go for those abilities, but the priority will be given to those which are recommended. And then
Okay.
coming to not recommended or less recommended, fairly recommended
Okay.
abilities.
Okay.
Yes.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, Purva.
Yeah.
All of these algorithms are system generated, and we do give top three areas, which is a
Yes.
good combination of the recommended abilities
Yes.
and the child's interest. So,
Yes.
Maitri, essentially, those are the three areas you will really refer to. And apart from that, there'll be a lot of scope for exploration that will be allowed to the student or the parents in the session. And during that, if there is a particular career which the child is looking forward to, which requires an ability which he's scoring less on, that's where you probably can get into a little deeper conversation about that particular ability. And like Purva has rightly said, we are not saying that you cannot do something because you're low on that ability. We have also given a mentor's guide where the parents can support, or also like a self-help guide, with all those tricks and all those methods. A person can continuously work at it and bring it up slightly, which can just do the work for that particular career that the child is choosing.
Right.
Yeah.
But one
So
more thing,
remember, a psychometric report is predictive. It's not one all. Yeah? Our report says that we are not responsible for the decision making process. We are facilitators. We are saying that this is what scientifically it looks like, but it does not mean that you completely exclude anything.
okay. And one more thing I want to ask that just like means the report just now Purva emailed me. It is saying, means for example, I'm saying that the person is good in home science, so few careers were suggested.
Hmm.
Okay, so is there any such list or like that? So for example, after every report such careers will be mentioned, right?
Right.
But apart from this, suppose for example this combination person want to go, that this is means recommended, and this is only fairly recommended or like that. So in this case, which type of career or second options which the person can go for? Is there any such thing for us like beginners?
Yes. So if you see, there are like 4 to 5 recommendations, minimum 4, maximum there are around 10, 12 career recommendations we provide, and those are from various background. Like there you can see one occupation could be from engineering background, another could be medical background, or then there could be arts also, because what we are doing, the system is doing abilities, 2 abilities and 2 interests, so we are combining and we are creating a list in the backend. So once the 4 are combined, the career recommendations reflect in the report. So as you're asking that are there any second options to give them, the second options are already provided there. So we are not just focusing on engineering per se or just medical stream per se, but we are going on a very diverse, we are including all the occupations there itself. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, ma'am, should I make the rules?
I think yes, everyone good to go. Wish you all the best. Okay, so how much time do you think we should allot this, Purva?
Maybe 15 to 20 minutes?
So 10 minutes each way.
Yes. 20
Okay,
minutes is fine.
so one partner gets to counsel for 10 minutes, and the other one also gets 10 minutes.
Right.
So we come back after 20 minutes,
Yeah.
and then we have a short debrief
Yes.
in a larger group, and then we break out again for our well-being assessment.
Right. Right.
Okay, so buckle up and all the best.
Yes. So, Ishika and Karishma. Then Nitish. Vasudha is the only person. So,
Maybe I can pair with Vasudha.
okay, fine. Fine. Yes. Hello? Kshitija? Hello, Kshitija?
Exactly, it is like even
Oh,
while explaining to the kids, we might not have to explain that, but for my understanding, I really want to know what those are.
okay, okay. So the raw score is, I'll give you an example. So the exam paper is of say 100 marks and I achieve 80 marks out of 100. So 80 out of 100 is my raw score. 80 is my raw score. Okay. Coming to STEN score. STEN score is nothing but it's a scale of 10, 1 to 10, and there are the scores are distributed in them. Okay, so we have concepts of standard deviations. So it is again very statistical. Standard deviation is nothing but the variation in the score, how much the scores are varied into it. Okay, again it's very technical to go into standard deviation, but to tell you STEN score, it is nothing but the raw score is divided into the scale of 10. Okay. Coming to Z score is again a derived score which has lot of standard statistical analysis into it, and it measures the scores from 3 3 point to minus 3 point. So 3 to 1 0 1 2 3 2 1 0 minus 1 minus 2 and minus 3. Minus 1 minus 2 minus 3 being on the lower side, plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 being on the higher side. Why we are using these scores is for our statistical analysis. It makes statistical analysis very easy. So as yesterday you must have learned about reliability and validity. So there are numerous students who score 80 out of 100, isn't it? Everybody's say 10 students are scoring 80 out of 100. But here we cannot see the variation in the scores, right? A person might have got 1 mark for say 10th question, and the other student might have got 1 mark for 15th question. We cannot find that, right? Because this is not an academic test, this is a psychometric test. So in order to find this variation where the items are scoring more, where the items are not scoring more, where the student is, this student is scoring more, even if the student is getting 80, both the students are getting 80, but where is the variation? Where are the students scoring in differently? Right? Understood? So there is this variation. A person might score high on 10th question, another person might score high on 15th question. So when we do statistical analysis, we can find this differentiation in the items. Okay, इसको 10th को मिला है, इसको 15th question को 1 mark मिला है. And that is how the concept of percentile comes in. The position of the person again. Understood? Anything else?
Thank you.
Yes, yes, it's very statistical. So, it will take more time. Even it will be very difficult for you to understand those statistical jargons.
But
Yes,
it was explained very lucidly.
thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes, anything else? Any more challenges faced? Ishika, Karishma, Smriti, Maitri,
I
Vasu,
just think we could
Purva.
probably do this again. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, right. Yes, Vasudha, you were saying something.
Yes, I have a doubt. So the
Hmm?
career counseling session would be mostly of 30 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes, right?
Right.
So how to, summarize the report and like firstly get to know the client, have a rapport, and then summarize the report, and then have a conversation with them, clear their doubts, all of that in a single session.
Right, right. So, first of all, I would request everyone to work on their rapport building skills. So, never ever start your counseling directly by going through the report. First ask the person how they are, or you can generally ask, how was the day? You can gauge their expressions. Are they scared? Are they confused? If you find them very scared or confused, you can ask them, are you confused? Or how are you? How was your day? Instead of asking directly, are you confused? You can ask them, how was your day? Okay, if they open up, it's fine. If they don't, it is again fine, because not everybody will open up at the moment, at that time when you ask it. Okay, but you still have to understand it. After that, having that rapport built up, maybe in 5 minutes you can do that. As Vasudha rightly said, we just get 30 minutes or 40 minutes. So try to do it in 5 to 7 minutes, not more than that. Then understanding of the report, as I said, going each section, not spending more time on every section. So if a person has a doubt, yes, spend time on that ability or that interest or anything. Okay, but try to be very crisp when you are explaining the abilities. You should have a great understanding of what numerical ability means in our test, what verbal ability means in our test. So they might come with the mental frame that numerical ability means arithmetics and geometry only, or whatever they are learning in their schools. But in psychometric test, numerical ability, uh, it, numerical ability is not just that, but it even measures the underlying process of how you calculate the mathematical calculations. So we are again seeing the underlying process. That's why we have the time trait. We have lot many things in test, which Vishal sir will be also covering. So you need to have very crisp and at the same time very elaborate understanding of each and every ability. So I would recommend you to have a report reading of say 10 to 15 minutes, not more than that. Okay, if it continues, the person will get bored, first of all. And if it drags, you won't be able to catch up with different things like goal setting or time management or anything the person is having difficulty in. Okay, so 15 minutes, 17 minutes, 18 minutes is fine. After that, after reading the report, you need to ask the person, is there any difficulty? So personally, when I take counseling sessions, in the report itself, when I'm reading the report itself, I ask people that, do you find this ability in line with your thinking? So as we and Maitri, we were doing the role play, I said, no, my verbal ability is really good. And the test is showing that verbal ability is really less. So you need to be uh, conscious about it to ask the person. It should not be monotonous at all. The report reading should also include the subject, the person in front of you. So you every time, so if there's less score, you need to ask them, do you find any difficulty in solving problems? Do you know what are the numerical ability questions we are asking over here? So then the person open up that, yes, I find difficulty in doing this. Then you need to have some 2 3 techniques in your hand to tell them that, please do this will increase, or this will improve, this will help you improve this ability. Understood? Coming to mentor's guide, again, if there are parents sitting with the client, you need to have again a few tips in your hand, 1 or 2 tips that you can tell the parents. Okay, you should make them aware of the techniques. Sometimes they don't even read the report. So you need to be aware that we as counselor need to talk to them as well, talk to the parents as well. So this will be covered again by Vishal sir, how to talk to parents. Priyanka ma'am will also throw light on this. As we finish the report, what I do personally is I ask them about their motivation. I ask them, are they setting goals or not? Because sometimes major problem is in goal setting. A person might have the ability, but the person has never set a goal. So the ability is still remaining, say, less. It's very mediocre, you know. So you need to ask them that, are you setting goals for yourself? Are you motivated to do that? Are there any difficulties? Do you find any emotional difficulties? Sometimes the abilities show less scores, but there's no issue in academics, there's issue in emotions. So this again, well-being part comes in here. So we'll be again covering well-being. Well-being is very important when we are talking to client, and even in career counseling. Understood? Anything else, Vasudha? Have I given?
Yes. You've answered my questions. Yes. Thank you, Purva.
Yes.
I had two doubts. Can I?
Yeah, Shravani.
So one, because the report is bit lengthy and with some technicalities of the test, what are the things that we should prominently explain them, and which can uh, be done in just short time? And
Okay.
secondly, when the client is asking for career choices, if they are asking about um if they are already fixed with something, or they have something in their mind, and they ask us about some supportive things about that how the report will support their or help them with their that career choice, how can we explain them or help them with that?
Okay, so you mean to say that person comes in with a predetermined occupation in the mind, that I want to go in engineering only. So how the report will help them? Am I right?
Yes.
Yes. So answering your first question, what are the technicalities that we should focus majorly on? First, as I said, demographics, the response type, the definition of all the abilities. As I said, it should be crisp and at the same time elaborated. So you need to elaborate as well, but in very few words. The person should understand what we are meaning. When you ask them that, do you have difficulty here, and if they say no, you can skip the self-help guide or the mentor's guide part. If it is not at all required, you can tell them that please go through the self-help guide for improving your abilities. Okay, if you don't want to waste time over there. But if you find that no, there is some clash going on, the person is looking, confused or something, so there you need to pause. You cannot go ahead. You need to pause and ask the person that, is there any difficulty, or do you think that this is not in align with what you think? Okay, so we need to clarify that thing there and then, because what happens once you read the report and then you ask, were there any difficulties, the person might even forget. There is possibility the person might even forget the difficulty. So for every ability, just ask a simple question: do you have difficulty? Is it okay with you? Are you happy with these scores? Do you feel that these scores represent your understanding of, say, maths or verbal ability? If the person says yes, I feel that I have to improve on verbal ability, so you can go ahead with other abilities. Coming to interests, yes, please do explain each and every interest, because our interests are not the streams. So social science interest doesn't represent social science stream. So again, this interest thing is based on the Holland's theory, which Vishal sir will be taking. And then you will understand what each and every interest mean. Okay, so this is a very, very important part of any report. Please do not neglect interest part. Then coming to top 3 interests, let them know what are their top 3 interests and the career recommendations. These are the few things that you need to focus on when you're explaining the report. Shravani, is it okay for the first question?
Yes, yes,
For the
yes.
second question, yes, there are people who come with, fixed mindset that I want to go in engineering. Either they really want to go in engineering or their parents force them to go into engineering. So we need to again differentiate this. So when you're reading the report and a person says that I want to go in engineering, but you can see the numerical ability is really low. Okay, the reasoning ability is really low over there, which is very much required in engineering fields. You need to ask them, do you really want to go there? You need to ask them about their hobbies. Sometimes, through such indirect questions, you come to know that the person is much more inclined towards something else than engineering or medical. Understood? So, we need to be very aware of their mental fixedness of parents as well as children. If they say, no, ma'am, we get money out of engineering, we don't get salaries in other occupations. We need to make them understand that what their abilities are telling them. Again, here we are not forcing anyone to go into engineering and we are not forcing anyone to not go into engineering. We are showing them the mirror of abilities and interests. So, whenever you're speaking, tell them that this is what your report represents. This is the mirror of your abilities, this mirror of your interests. And depending upon that, these are the career recommendations that you can go for. If a person comes to you, maybe he must be in, say, in graduation phase, maybe a person has come, uh, he or she must be doing, say, engineering second year, and the person comes to you. The very fact that the person doing second year engineering comes to you shows that the person is again confused. If the person is very clear about the things, the person might not come to you. Or the person might need validation that yes, I really should go for engineering. Is my report validating my career option? Right? The person might have such questions. So, while telling someone to change the stream, we should be very cautious. I personally don't ask them to change the stream, even if their abilities are not good into, say, numerical ability is not good and the person is in engineering section, right? We should never ever say that change your stream and go to arts because the report is saying that, because report is just, as I said, one complementary thing to other academic performance or academic indicators, right? So when you're saying such words, be very, very cautious. What you can tell them that right now you're in engineering, you can really work upon your numerical ability, you can really work upon your reasoning ability. These are the main things that will help you crack your exams. So we need to give them that trust, we need to give them that strength that yes, you can do this. Understood, Shravani?
Yes, yes, Purva.
Yes.
Apurva,
Anything else?
can you tell me that what are the interest exactly means?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, this is a very big chunk of, it's a theory basically. It's a chunk of knowledge which will be taken by Vishal sir. So he will explain each and every interest in depth. Yes. Yes. Anything else?
So I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
This example that you gave, and
Hmm.
I totally understand that we should not really try to influence somebody's decision
Right.
in changing, midway,
Hmm.
say he's in second year engineering.
Hmm.
But the fact that he has come to a career counselor would also mean that he would have worked plan B out and many a times there are many other factors that are playing a big role. Like
Right.
he is probably noticing that his motivation has really dipped. In some extreme cases, they may be moving towards depression because they are not being able
Yes.
to see any academic success.
Right.
So if the person is, very directly asking us, this is where I am, and I wish to now move to another career field altogether,
Hmm.
what would our role then be?
Yes. So, if a person is very much sure that the person is unable to do it, like just unable to do it, you can see through their behaviors, you can ask them that what kind of difficulties they are facing. If the challenges are really serious, yes, what we can do is here we can have another session with them. So at the very first go, at the very first counseling session, we cannot again tell them that please change your career stream. We can have one more session or two more sessions to understand in-depth difficulty, and depending upon that, yes, we can then tell them ki you can go in some other stream as well. I would personally do that because there are lot many things involved, like emotional, stressful things. You know, a person might be going into depression, as Priyanka ma'am said. So this cannot come out in the very beginning or the in very one session. Here we need to have 2 3 sessions, so you can ask the person if they want to have few more sessions. You can when you're discussing with them the career recommendations, you can see if they are inclined towards some other careers. You can ask them, as we get it in the report down there, you get 5 to 6 career recommendations. Ask them, are you interested in these? What you can tell them that your abilities and your interests show this. If they're really they want to change the stream, then yes, it can happen, but again not in the very first session. It will require second or third session.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Purva.
Yes.
Thanks for clarifying.
Yes. Any more difficulties, any more issues?
Uh, Purva, what ideally should be the time for a session, and how do we convey it to the parents who are coming to us uh, with their child? What
Okay, so
like
ideally,
just a second. Like, there might be a need to extend the session, or maybe like you said, take a second or third session. So how exactly should it be conveyed so that it doesn't go on forever or it doesn't end abruptly?
okay, so the these so there are these steps as we had discussed, the initial disclosure and how you need to close it. Okay, the time aspect of it is 45 minutes, maximum 45 minutes. You can end it before or 5 7 minutes here and there. Okay, that can be done, but 45 minutes is what usually we follow. And when we are online, again it differs, you know. When we are online we take around 40 minutes, and when we are offline it might go to 1 hour, right? So it depends upon what kind of mode you're using. And again, you need to be very clear that you should be able to talk to the student alone, as well as with parents alone. So you can ask the parents that for say 5 to 10 minutes, let me talk to the student alone, get to know the student better. Then you can call in the parents. You can have a little bit of 5 minutes discussion with them, get to know the parents, and this is how you can distribute your time. Okay, and if so, as I said, if there are a lot of emotional things going on which we cannot handle, we'll have to refer it to someone who can handle it. And you can, you know, you can gauge the undercurrents of emotional disturbances in them. So, and these cannot be sorted with just a career counselor. You require someone with that kind of experience. And as we will be covering well-being also, so certain aspects again you can also handle it. So if the emotional disturbances are not too intense, yes, we can mitigate them there and then. Okay. Yes, Smriti, is it okay? Yeah.
Just to add to Purva,
Hmm.
Smriti, you can have a clear, understanding of what will be covered in those 45 minutes at the beginning of the session, so as for the parents to understand, the flow of your session, and make it very clear that, apart from this, if anything may arise, we would need another session, which can be scheduled at a mutually convenient slot later.
Right.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
sounds great.
that is,
Yes.
yeah, very important to have that, because that will also reflect on your professional qualities.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so
And
much.
many a times there would be situations, like you rightly said, where it can just go on and on, and we need not do that, because eventually in the long run that will drain you out. So stick to the 45-minute slot which Purva has mentioned rightly, and so as to complete what needs to be done in those 45 minutes, a good idea to set expectations right at the beginning of the session. Okay,
Yes. Thank you. Thanks, Riddhi.
no problem.
Yes. So are we done with the issues and difficulties?
So should we, how would you all like it? Now it's 5:24. I think we can take about a 10 minutes, go into breakout rooms for 10 minutes, 5 minutes each way, and maybe try to understand how to go about, the discussion on the well-being report. And then come back in exact 10 minutes so that we can have our presentation on well-being after that. Is that okay?
Yes.
Is that okay with everyone?
Yes, but well-being reports are with us.
The well-being test which we were supposed to give, that I couldn't apparently register only for it.
Okay.
The
Like it, I don't know. It kept saying I couldn't go forward only even after I filled my entire details. I
yeah,
could.
because Karishma, you were already registered. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you were already when you had created your this thing dashboard.
What about others? Smriti and Maitri, do you all have your well-being reports with you all?
No, no, because actually, as it was giving me error, so I have not tried for well-being also. I thought the same thing will happen, so I have not gone for well-being. I have not given the test of well-being.
Okay.
Okay, okay. So, in that case, I think, Purva, would it be a good idea to just share screen and share the report with everyone? We can discuss the report in brief, and then I can take them through the presentation.
Yes. Yes. Just give me a minute.
Sure. Until then, maybe you all can share your understanding about, the connection between a well-being report and an aptitude and a career interest test. Though there is no direct correlation, but still, do you think it'll help you all um, to have an understanding about the overall well-being of a person who you will be, counseling?
So, Priyanka ma'am, you are suggesting that for one person we should go ahead for two tests. One is for career and aptitude test, and another will be well-being test.
Yeah, so well-being test will be optional, Maitri. Not everyone will take it.
Okay.
it's up to you. So, in situations where, some of the examples which Purva has stated, where we see that there is an undercurrent and we notice that there could be some difficulties, you could use the stand test. That's not the well-being assessment. The stand assessment is something that can help us understand about the person's stress responses, whether the person's moving towards anxiety, depression, all of this would come in that. And the well-being assessment would give you an overall understanding about the person's emotional stability. Purva will be taking us through that right now. So, case to case basis, you could take a call if that assessment can really benefit the student.
Okay, okay.
At times, there are many parents who say that we want to anyway do the EQ assessment for our child. We would like to understand, where he or she stands. So there are a couple of more other assessments also which can be, utilized by y'all through the Brainberg dashboard.
So, ma'am, will you be explaining all these tests to us, means when to appear for which test? Because there are many different tests. So, apart from career and aptitude tests, so are you going to explain us that what all those tests means?
Yeah, we could do that, Maitri. Like that's what we are attempting to do right now, at least with the
Oh,
well-being assessment.
okay,
So
okay.
let's just go through that report, and we'll definitely ensure that all your queries are met.
Yes. So is everybody able to see the screen?
Yes, yes.
Yes, Priyanka ma'am.
Yes.
Okay, so Purva, I would request you to explain the report, and then maybe I can take them through the
All right.
presentation. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So this is the well-being assessment report. It's a standard report, detailed report. Here the person is of 20 age and a female with graduation, and she's a student. The response style is genuine, which means that we can consider this report and we can go ahead. I'm skipping the disclaimer part. Here in the well-being assessment, we are measuring resilience, we are measuring adaptability, we are measuring positive effectivity and emotional stability. Uh, let's go in depth of all these traits, considering that you all understand now what Z scores and response styles are. Okay, resilience, as you can see, and in very layman's term, we say that we can recover quickly from the loss and come back to the normal, easy life. This happens whenever we face any setback or very traumatic situation. So, how quickly, but in a very healthy way, you can come back to your normal life. This is what resilience measures over here. And here you can see the strength score as 6.62, which falls in between 6 to 8, which is good. The resilience of this person is good. Coming to interpretation, again, you can see problem solving skills are good of this person, as the person can tackle the emotional as well as cognitive or the setbacks, whatever they are going through, very in a very, what you can say, effective manner. Okay. You are very well aware of the situations around you. You can handle crisis and ability to cope up with adversity. So you are able to cope up. So there are again coping styles. So you are able to come up from that situation using your coping styles. You plan effectively and work on the opportunities. So whenever you are in the setback or you're coming out of the setback, you're planning something, you know, something ahead of that setback. So this is again comes under resilience. Coming to self-help guide, you can again give the person some improvement techniques. What, like, these could not be very directive as career counseling techniques, but could be more empathetic and more emotional in nature, right? Again, mentors guide. It will help the mentors to help the client come out from the setback or improve the resilience. Okay. Coming to adaptability, it is the ability of a person to adjust in any given situation. They can change themselves regarding the requirements of the situation. So resilience is predominantly where required when we face any setback, but adaptability could be even for normal situations or a very less change in our environment, something which will be very minute, but yes, a change in our environment. So are you able to adapt to the environment? Here you can again see it is 5.61, which falls in between 4 to 6. That means it's average, a bit average, but there is always a scope of improving your adaptability. Here you can again summarize the interpretation analysis, how what the score means. You can summarize self-help guide and mentors guide. Coming to positive affectivity, what is positive affectivity is how humans experience positive emotions and interact with others, with their surroundings. So basically your own experience of positive emotions. So positive emotions might include, say, joy, excitement, or being jolly, being calm as well. That is something, a positive sense or positive emotion. Here you can see it's 3.72. 3.72 falls in between 2 to 4 range. Again, here there is a lot of scope for improvement. Coming to interpretation analysis, you can tell them that you might not be getting those experiences where you experience enthusiasm, energy, or cheerfulness. Okay. There could be people around you who might not encourage you to be that happy. There could be certain circumstances that, something is happening in your life and you're not happy. And that is fine. Everybody goes through ups and downs. Okay. And that is why we are providing self-help guide. So we prepare your environment, start smaller than you think. So incorporate practice into everyday life so it becomes a habit without worrying about a big task. So, here again we are tackling anxiety also. So positive affectivity is not just improving your positive emotions, but also tackling with your negative emotions. Try to meditate. So these are certain techniques which you can go through. Then mentors guide again. This is for the mentors, how they can foster creativity, how they can foster positive environment around the person. They'll need to build the trust. Coming to the, I guess this is the last trait, emotional stability. It refers to person's ability to remain calm and balanced when faced with pressure or stress. So what is the difference between resilience and emotional stability? Resilience is something that motivates you to come out of a situation, whereas emotional stability is something that you understand that the situation is going wrong, but how balanced you are at that very moment. So, for example, you can see a person, saying certain wrong things to you, and you can understand you're getting angry. But if you're high on emotional stability, you can balance out your emotions. You can, balance out your behavior. You might, say you are getting that urge of saying things on the face, but your emotional stability is at work there, and you remain calm and you remain balanced. So that is the emotional stability. Here you can see the strength score is 6.92, which again falls in 6 to 8 range. That is good. So you can again summarize interpretation analysis, self-help guide and mentor's guide to improve emotional stability, to improve the stability of the person. Coming here is the description about mental well-being. What is mental well-being and why it is important compared to, uh, equal to physical health. So we emphasize on physical health, but we are here again focusing more on mental well-being. So yeah, that's it, Priyanka ma'am.
Okay. So, Purva, can we share the presentation which I sent you?
Yeah, just a second.
Uh, Purva and Priyanka Didi, we have attempted the well-being test on the very first session.
Correct.
Yeah, so the reports are with us. I got confused whether we have attempted or not. So
Yeah.
So
yeah, all
first
of
day
us
test,
have.
yes, even I have
Yeah.
attempted.
Yes.
So you have the reports with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. So maybe
Yes, we
now
have our
we are,
reports.
Purva, what should we do? Should we send them to breakout rooms or first do the presentation? I think we'll send them to breakout rooms and then do the presentation.
Okay, okay. Just give me a minute. I'll
We'll
stop
take.
sharing.
Is
Yeah.
it okay if we extend by 5 to 10 minutes, participants?
Yes, yes.
Is that okay? So that
Yes.
you can have a hands-on exposure with this test as well. It's important that we get into breakout rooms. So we'll take 5 minutes each way this time and come back in 10 minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
Purva, can you please explain what are we supposed to do in the groups this time again?
Yeah, you will have to explain the well-being report. Or do you have a Karishma well-being report, or
Nahin.
I'll send one or two sample reports to you guys.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Yes. Maitri, Smriti, and Ishika, I think you have your reports, right?
Yes.
Okay, fine.
Yes.
So what we will be doing? We will be discussing our report with someone else.
No.
Means I'm not having anyone else's report, no. So that's why I'm asking.
So yeah, maybe you could. It's very less time to exchange reports now. So you could use your report as a base and discuss that particular report.
Ma'am,
Okay.
Yeah.
the presentation will be on the well-being test, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So we will be able to understand in depth about all the traits and all that would be in the test, right?
Yes, it has been explained right now by Purva also, but we'll be touching upon it in the presentation also.
Right. So it would be easier to, do the role play session after the presentation so that we will have a deeper understanding of what we are actually explaining.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sure. Sure, sure. So let's go ahead.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. So why do we have to understand well-being counseling while we are doing career counseling? Can someone quickly answer that?
The state of mind of the student who has come for career guidance can play a major role in giving the test, in understanding the result.
Right, right. That could be a possibility. However, Smriti, this particular well-being assessment is assessing an individual on his or her traits, which would be which would show consistently across different settings. Okay, so this gives us a closer understanding of how this person is adjusting with life at large and coping with situations which could be difficult. Okay, so Purva, can we go to slide number 2?
Yes. Is it visible?
No, not yet.
Can others see?
No.
Okay, just a minute. Is it visible now?
Yes, yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay, So why well-being? Okay, what does well-being comprise of? It's actually the physical as well as the mental oblique psychological state of a person, at a given point in time and across different settings when it comes to our well-being assessment per se. So, like you rightly said, Smriti, how the person is feeling when he or she is interacting with you will largely, influence his or her decision making in that moment. However, the overall physical and psychological well-being will go, a long way in the various decision making stages of the person's life. All right. So, both physical and psychological well-being can influence each other. You know what I mean? So, if let's say we are going through a particular illness for a certain period of time, it can affect the way we are feeling. Psychologically, we may feel low, we may not feel at the best, we may not, have an enthusiasm to think about our goals and all the exciting things that we want to do, right? And also the other way around, if we are going through some psychological difficulties due to certain situations in life, it can influence our physical health as well. So it's very important to understand that uh, overall well-being, a person as a whole, is what we are dealing with, and not just a part of, his being, right? So career counseling probably will influence a part of his major decision making process in life, but we need to understand that we are dealing with the person as a whole, and which is why well-being plays a very important role. So it is about how we think, how we feel, how we behave, how life affects us, and how we cope with it, how we engage with others, and the choices that we make. Yeah. So this is an extension to what Pooba has already explained. So I'm quickly going to move to the next slide. Okay. So why assess well-being? Like I mentioned, it's a person as a whole that we are dealing with, right? And we cannot then only say that I will be helping the person, or the process of career counseling alone will may not be fruitful always necessarily if we are not being able to look at other factors which are influencing the person, like Purva rightly mentioned, if the person doesn't know how to set goals and has never set goals, in spite of having all the other qualities, being good in abilities, uh, you know he may experience setbacks which may actually make him feel not very nice about himself or herself, right? It will reflect on his self-esteem and the way he views himself or herself. So it's very important to understand what these different factors could be. So when we assess well-being, it is giving us, through this particular assessment, if we are referring to, it's giving us an objective awareness and knowledge of the underlying factors influencing in the decision making process. All right. What could be one example here? So the question which Shavni had asked, I think Shavni had asked, if I'm not wrong, if there is a parent who has come in with a preconceived, notion or a decision he has already made that my child will do only engineering and nothing else, right? And this is also playing up with, it's, you can see it influencing the child as well. This is going to interfere in our career counseling process. It's not going to be smooth. So it's very important to notice these factors. Also, to identify and refer in case of any drastic deviations noted in the child's interaction or narration. What could be some examples here? What do you think will be a drastic deviation in behavior? Something that will disturb you, or not, maybe you wouldn't feel uh, comfortable to see the child in that state, right? So someone can be very inquisitive, curious, ask you a lot of questions. That's a healthy interaction. But if you notice that the child is too pressurized, is under some kind of uh, uh, substance influence, there are many permutation combinations that can come up, right? Many a times here it's very important to understand that um, given the fact that mental health services are not easily accessible to many students as of now in our country, you might probably be the first or one of the very few neutral and non-judgmental people that they are interacting with. So it could be that something that is really troubling them, they can share with you, right? So it will not happen directly in the first session, but in cases where you're having 2 to 3 sessions with a person, with a child, something like that can come up. Like the child may have gone through any kind of physical or sexual abuse, uh, anything that is extreme, which we are not, it's not in our governing area. We don't, as career counselors, address any of that, right? So we go back to our initial skills that we did, where we acknowledge, we validate that you have gone through something like this, and maybe we guide the child and parents to the right source for further help. So it's very important from that point of view. Any questions over here? Okay, we can go to the next slide then. Okay, so Purva has already covered majority of this. So the Brainberg Wellness Test covers these traits: resilience, adaptability, positive affectivity, emotional stability, uh, all of which can help us understand how this child generally copes with life. Yeah, in situations where you know there are dire consequences, and the child has suffered a lot of emotional damage, and how the child has bounced back. You will get to see that through the resilience score. Adaptability, very important factor, which can help us um, in few of the career choices we are facilitating. We are helping the child explore. So based on how the child adapts, what his adaptability capacity at that point in time is, right? So that that is also somewhere it can help us. Positive affectivity and emotional stability. So Purva has covered this already. We can go to the next slide, Purva. Okay, now this is very important in addition to what I've covered in the earlier slides. So a well-being assessment may come into picture or may not. So a parent might just say we would like to do the career interest test and the aptitude test, and just need to know where our child needs to, which direction our child needs to focus in. Okay. Now, our role in assessment would be that we look at the not so obvious factors, right? The undercurrents which Purva was speaking about. The underlying state of mind is often projected through a person's body language, eye contact, and the response style during conversation. So after you are done with your initial rapport, there is some amount of ease in the conversation. Usually, a child will have an open body language. It will not be closed anymore, or it will be slightly open, where the child is willing to allow things to come in, if not allow things to go out, right? The eye contact, he or she will try to match the eye contact more often. And during conversation, you will notice that there is good enough response from the child. However, um, any deviations in this, like there's a good amount of time you all have already spent, and you notice that there is still a lot of you know, non-willingness to be a part of the whole process, uh, is what you really need to make a note of, because these could be uh, you know, signals which can take you towards something that may need attention. So maybe you can call the child in the next time, and it may need one or two sittings for you to really understand if it is just the state of mind at that point in time, or there is something more that is not allowing the child to really be a part of this conversation. Okay. Similarly, there would be psychological cues. For example, there would be complete uh, denial in a certain conversation that you all are having about a particular career, or there can be outright rebellion, especially in cases where parents are you know, forcing the child to look at a few career streams only. So the child will express this rebellion through his body language, again going back to those factors, through the way he's responding. Yeah. And uh, this is something very important. Tremendous self-doubt. Okay. So these are basically signals we need to watch out for. If there is too much amount of denial, if there is too much amount of rebellion, so you notice that you're talking with the child for a prolonged period of time, maybe 2 or 3 sessions have gone, and uh, still not being able to reach a point where, you know, there is an okay, that okay, I can go ahead with this. So it's important for you to know that you have tried with all the skills that you've learned through this program. There could be a problem of a higher degree. This person could be going through something more you know, um, more complex, which would need attention, right? There could be anxiety, there could be underlying depression. We really don't know what could be, you know, the actual causes behind this behavior. So important to look at these behaviors. Tremendous self-doubt could reflect through the child's body language and during the conversation as well. If it persists beyond many counseling attempts, then you need to know that uh, you know, even with a good career counseling report and session, the child may find it difficult to uh, set basic goals, go on with a motivation to you know, pursue what he or she has inferred out of the report and the session. So maybe you could suggest the parents or the child to go in for some kind of rehabilitation counseling with a counseling psychologist. And then, like I mentioned, any other SOS reported during the one-on-one sessions. So could range from abuse, substance abuse, uh, you know, suicidal ideation. Usually would not come up that easily in you know, career counseling sessions, because it's probably not more than 2 to 3 times that we meet children. But it's important for you to know that for many, y'all could be the only neutral, non-judgmental, trusted person they are talking to, and it could come up. So it's very important for us to know all of this. So we can go to the next slide. Okay. So after looking at all of this, very important to know where we have to draw our line. Okay. So you may feel a lot of need to help the child and to resolve things for the child, but it's very important to understand the ethical considerations. So I'm sure each one of you are aware of the you know, ethical boundaries for the role of a clinical psychologist. A clinical psychologist is someone who's completed their education, a 5-year degree, and probably have also you know, acquired an RCI certification. That's a body which certifies you to be practicing as a clinical psychologist, and they focus on very difficult clinical conditions that may persist in you know, individuals. So that's a completely different field altogether. Counseling or a rehabilitation psychologist similarly would have a 5-year degree. And then there are psychotherapists who may or may not have a 5-year qualification, but have done, like, uh, they do definitely do have a graduation in in mental health studies. So I'm referring to like a global thing. In India, of course, MA is basic when you are looking at clinical cases or complex cases to handle. Okay, so important to understand that these are authorities or people you can refer your cases to in case we see those deviations, which we saw in the earlier slide. Okay, then there are counselors also who are with minimum of 1 year full-time masters. Sorry, master. It's not masters. It's a PG course, a PG diploma course with a particular specialization. So it could be in counseling, psychology, it could be in career counseling, or it could be any other field. But they necessarily have supervised hours, which makes them, equipped to handle that complexity in those cases. So for us as career counselors, we play a facilitative role in a and it's an important process of career selection, which may in turn affect a person's overall psychological health and well-being. Okay, when it is the other way around, we refer it to a qualified profession. So we are very important in the whole scheme of things. Please understand that with uh, the right kind of career guidance, we are allowing people to have more satisfied lives, which can definitely ensure that their mental health is it's well protected, at least on this front. Right, there's a lot of satisfaction and energy we derive from the work we do. It's a very important factor in determining a person's mental health. Right, so that's where our role is. However, if it's the other way around, where people may come to you with career decisions, you may notice some more symptoms apart from the confusion, and that's where we need to know that we need to refer these cases out. Okay, that was quite a monologue, and I would like to know if you all have any questions. Hello, is everyone here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so yeah, so take some time. I think that's so a lot of information, but I would like you all to ask some questions if you all have. So I've tried to cover two things. One is about the well-being assessment, and also about other aspects which you can notice, the undercurrents that you can notice during a counseling session. Okay, so if there are no questions, should we go into the breakout rooms?
Yes. Yeah. Give me
Ma'am,
Yeah.
so I will have to go. Something urgent just came up. I'm so sorry. I will have to leave.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you. It was a good session, ma'am.
All
Good.
right. Thanks.
Thanks, Purva.
Yes, Vasudha. Thank you. Yes.
So we'll quickly wrap this up in 10 minutes. It's important we do this. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Is Karishma here?
She was, but I don't think she's now.
I have due to commitment to be sorry. Oh, all right. So,
So we have
the
Shravani, Smriti, Oh,
So I'll put Smriti with Shravani,
okay.
and we have only Vrinda remaining.
Okay. So Maitri has also left.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, ma'am, I'll be putting you with Vrinda then.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah. So, okay, Vrinda is also not there, I guess.
No,
She
she's
is
there.
there. She is there.
Yes.
Okay.
It's raining.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I have opened all the rooms. Vrinda, please join the room.
Start. How have you been feeling this week? What have you done this week?
Mhm.
Like that.
Right.
It
Rapport
was
build.
overall nice. Yeah, there is a lot of fumbling right now. Uh, uh, yeah, I'm learning.
Yeah, it's a process, and with practice, you will get the knack of speaking and building a rapport with someone.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just helped out her because she was reading the report like we do for the career interest, and she was very great with that. But just because it may have a little bit difference with the client, I just suggested few things, nothing else. And even I felt that I could understand the entire report when she explained me.
Yeah, so like it was one way or both the ways?
No, we did one way, like we did an entire session from the beginning to end.
Okay, okay. So Smriti, anything else, anything challenging you faced?
yeah. It is a little difficult to talk about emotions. Like
Hmm?
you're exactly talking about the personality of the other person.
Right,
So to use the correct word, it goes everywhere, but to like it is you're talking about the person, how he is or how she is. So it's a big task to use proper words and not to degrade anyone.
right.
It should be a conscious effort that not a single such word is spoken that the other person might feel offended.
Yes, yes, absolutely. That we need to learn to be subtle, as I said, and be
Yeah,
again elaborative. You need to convey your message to the client properly, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's nice that you are aware of certain things. We need to be aware of what challenges we are facing so that we can rectify it,
yeah.
isn't it?
Yes, yeah,
So I think the other in-depth part will be taken by Vishal sir. At that time, you can again ask him um,
okay.
what more you want to know about well-being and positive emotions, and
Okay.
then we can have one more role play, and I think the things will be cleared by that time,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So should we
Yeah.
close this session today? How was it?
It was nice, informative, and engaging.
Yeah. So
Thank you so much
we
for being so patient, repeating things,
it's my
and you
job.
have such a lovely smile.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shruti. So, with the
Yeah.
practice, I even told Priyanka ma'am that we should have more and more role plays um, so that
Mhm.
you get that language of reading the report and explaining it to the client. So that is
Yes.
more engaging than talking about each and everything on PPT or everything, right? So
Yeah.
practical experience matters most. So let's meet again on next weekend. By that time, you
Yes.
can go through the reports, you can study, you can search and explore positive emotions, well-being, etc. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have a
Yeah.
good day,
See you, everyone.
everyone. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
Bye,
you.
Bye.
Vrunda.
Bye.
Bye, Smriti.